Yeah, what up? It's Tru Rapp, Philly Jungle. We live from Sound Gallery Studios. I'm tuned in with my boy Philly F.A.M.E TV.
Philly F.A.M.E. Philly F.A.M.E. Alright, Tru Rapp, what's going on with you, good brother? First and foremost, man.
Everything is good.
Everything good? That's what's up. That's what's up. Like you said, we live from the studio right now, Sound Gallery Studios to be exact.
Right.
I mean, this where you be recording and cooking up at. I mean, alright.
Philly Jungle,
Right.
2 and 3.
Right.
Everything.
Alright, so I mean, to my audience, the people that's tapped in, I mean, most of them probably not familiar. You fairly new on the scene and all of that. So let's give people,
On the music scene.
Yeah, on the music scene. So let's give people a little bit of your background before we get into your music and what you got going on currently, you know what I mean? So you from North originally, from Erie Avenue to be exact. I mean, 15th and Butler, we're going to get into that because you got a little song dedicated to where you come from and all that. Right. I mean, if I ain't mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I know Gil from that side, he from Butler. I ain't sure if he from 15th and Butler or...
Yeah, he's actually from that block.
Yeah, so y'all from the same block, actually.
Right.
So did you ever cross paths or see him, back in the day when when you was coming up?
Well, he was older than me. So, when I was on... I wasn't even off the step yet. I was still a kid, running around, doing what kids do. And he was already off the porch. You know what I mean? So we never crossed paths. But I walked by him a few times. It was like an apartment right there in the middle of the block. But I don't think he noticed me.
Word. So I
didn't even know I didn't even know who he was at the time. Because, I was a kid, I was young.
Word. So what, they was trapping on corner, they was just chilling, hanging, I mean?
He was always just out there doing what he do. I don't really know, too much about his business, but I just know,
you seen him out there,
yeah,
I mean?
Definitely seen him out there.
Weird. And then, Major Figures was real big back in the day. A lot of them come from that side too. So was you able to see that little run and see them out there when they was in their little heyday? If so, speak a little bit on that.
Yeah, That's Us.
Right.
That's Us was one of the songs I heard. And, I was like, yo, that's him. That's good. So, around that time, Yeah, That's Us and Cross the Border. Across the Border, my
yeah, that was Most
right
Wanted,
there.
yeah.
Most Wanted, yeah. Those are the songs I heard. And, that movement touched me. But at the time, I wasn't really doing music. I always was writing music, but I was never really into it like that. I just wrote it and rapped here and there.
Word. So let's get into your upbringing a little bit. I mean, you 15th and Butler. I mean, what's your household was like? Describe that a little bit, like, for the people.
To be honest with you, man, it was rough. My mother was struggling with drugs. Grandmother struggling with drugs. My uncle, he lived in a household with us on 3802 North 15th Street, and he was struggling with alcohol. He was a wild boy, man. He's a wild guy, so the family was always dysfunctional, and it was pretty much a fend for yourself type thing. So, it wasn't no foundation. It wasn't no support system. So, I wasn't always in the music. I was actually an athlete. I played ball. I played football. And I was always trying to pursue my dreams and do that. But I wound up turning to the streets because I needed fast money. So, I was just doing what I had to do. But I was still going to school and still chasing my dreams, But just coming up, it was real rough.
Right. So what age was it when you start, transitioning and jumping in the streets and trying to get money that way?
I was about 15.
15. So you jumped out there. You still was going to school. Mm-hmm. Did you end up finishing school?
I didn't finish school. So I was the only person in the neighborhood I was going to George Washington High School at the time. And I was playing football. I was going to camp and all that, trying to do my thing there and still going to school. But all of the other guys around me was in the streets. So, I was waking up in the morning, catching like 2 buses, the R, the 58, all the way to Washington High School, and I was leaving before the sun even came up. You know what I mean? So it was real rough, and I was playing ball. It didn't work out because of traveling, the expenses, you know. So I wound up returning to my neighborhood school, which is Seein Gillie, and I played ball there. And you know, I wanted to start a quarterback job, and I was doing my thing on the field, but because I needed that money, football wasn't paying me. You know what I mean? So I just turned to the streets, and I did what I had to do to get some money.
Alright. So you just basically dropped out and went full-fledged, you know, outside with it.
Outside, yeah. I realized something, you know, when I started getting into that lifestyle. I saw something real early. Like, I realized that it was a trap, and I realized that I couldn't do that long term. There was a lot of things I seen around me, a lot of different people, how they carry themselves, and I realized there was certain people that wasn't really fit for that, and I knew that I was only going to end up 2 places, you know. So I made the transition. I had to figure out a different way to make some money. I had to get legit, but I was young.
So at what age you started at 15? At what age did you transition out of that and start going a different route?
So some stuff happened around the neighborhood. I don't really want to speak on that, but I was about 17, like 2 or 3 years. I was 17 and 18, and I said, you know what? I need to get out of here. Like, I need to leave. You know what I mean? Because this is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So I was about 18.
Alright. So what happened? How you explain a little bit how you ended up getting out? You just relocated, got away? Like, what happened?
I relocated. I had enough money stashed up, and I was able to get a nice little apartment in East Oak Lane. You know what I mean? And when I got the apartment in East Oak Lane, I had a couple jobs, and I was trying to, you know, make that work, but that didn't work out for me neither. And that's when I realized I was meant to be a boss.
Okay.
Working 9 to 5 didn't fit me.
Okay, so explain your moves from there, like what you ended up doing, because you ain't want to do the job stuff. What you ended up doing?
I went hard with the music. I got all my rap books, and I was just going through pages one day, and I was just like, I got a lot of raps. Like, and I just was scratching stuff off. I was like, nah, this is whack, this is cool. And I just said, you know what? Fuck that rap book. And I just started cooking up some new stuff. I found me a producer. And I was all around though. Like, I was doing DVDs. I did a DVD with Get Your Weight Up. I don't know if that's still out, but you know, I just was working on music, and I started cooking up and trying to find my sound and trying to find what fits me. And you know, that was a journey within itself. Trying to find my identity.
So you basically started, was you already rapping when you was in the streets, or you started rapping like when you was getting out of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was rapping when I was in the streets, but I wasn't rapping like everybody else was. I just spit a couple rhymes here and there, and I just spit some shit that I thought the streets wanted to hear. But I never went hard. Like, the DVDs was out, the Meek Mill, the Jazz, Reed, everybody was out doing their thing. So, you know, I just was rapping a little bit. I ain't never take it serious.
Right. And I want to get to one of the joints, because you sent me the joint, and I tapped in. I mean, it was a joint that basically explained, you know, a little bit of some of the stuff we talking about, the 15th and Butler joint.
Right.
I mean, and you actually was talking about how, I know I heard online on there, we was talking about you was trapping in school and all that. You basically broke that down. And another thing you said on there was how I think somebody that was messing with your mom was actually connected or whatever. Like, so elaborate a little bit on that, because I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, like,
that was a wild story, man. Yeah, so he was from down south, but he had a lot of shit. I don't want to say too much, but you know, he was messing with my mom's, and I didn't know that. Me and him busted up. I was going to go get some rap DVDs, And this was around the time when the headshots and, you know, the DVDs was out. You could go on the avenue and just find you something. Like whoever the hottest rapper, you could find him right there. And that's how I met him. Like he was doing his thing out there. He was doing that. And you know, he was just, he was looking to do business. I'm gonna say that.
Okay. So you say you ain't even know that he was messing with your mom at the time you met him separately, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so what happened was, I'm moving around in the streets and I'm doing what I'm doing. I was dolo. At first, I was a dolo, just, you know, out there. But it was a lot of different family I had around there. A lot of guys that was already out there. My second family, like my grandmother, my mother already knew the people next door to us, and we already knew each other. So they started moving around. They was doing their thing too. But I was by myself. The word started getting around in the hood. Like, yeah, you know, your son out there doing this, you know, doing his thing in the streets. And everybody started knowing. So that's how she found out. And you know, I did some things, you know, and he was upset. And you know, he was talking about it to my mother. And that's how she found out.
Wow, that's crazy.
She was like, yeah, you messing with him? Like, you know what he do? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I just played silly like I ain't know. But, you know, eventually she, you know, that's mom's. She know. She been out there, so she know.
Right. Yeah, so is that the track that you sent me, I mean, you plan on, you know, well, it's already out on your YouTube channel, so go ahead and plug that for the people that didn't hear it. Like I said, that kind of break down your story. That's something that represents you. That's pretty much a song that you want to push and let people know, you know what I mean, who you are, where you come from. So go ahead and plug that joint. Like,
yeah, 15th and Butler, that's the biggest song. That's the biggest message. That's the one that I want you to know me for, 15th and Butler. That's talking about my struggles, my life, my upbringing, and you know, talking about my transition from the streets to the life that I'm living now, which is 100% legal. So it's also just letting you know that the life that you living when you out there, it's a trap. And I think everybody should be aware of that. I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm not trying to say, don't hustle, don't do this. Do what you do. But just be mindful that it's a trap and it was never meant for you to do for the rest of your life. So that's what 15th and Butler was basically talking about.
Alright. So you one of the people, and I mean, you know, that, you know, succumb to the environment like a lot of young boys in the city do, you know, gravitate to what's going on in the hood, in the streets. So you can relate to what a lot of these young boys is going through out here today. Now, I mean, fast forward, you looking at a more positive vibe today. So your music kind of reflect that. You don't really do drill music and sound like the young boys sound. So speak a little bit on that, like, you know, conscious decision, like once you change your life and did music, you more so focus on, you know, doing the music that talk about your life and you, as opposed to like the popular drill music that everybody else doing.
Yeah, so I'm a conscious rapper, and you know, because that's really who I am in real life. And you know, when I transitioned and I started being conscious about my decisions and my life, you know, when I got to the apartment I was telling you about, right? I was in East Oak Lane, and I just said, I'm gonna just sit back, I'm gonna lock myself in, and I'm gonna get locked in. I'm gonna, you know, build knowledge. I'm gonna accumulate knowledge. I'm gonna work on my vocabulary. I'm gonna study everything and everybody around me. And you know, now I made a decision to be conscious. So now when I talk about music, it's conscious music. So I always looked at the trap music and the drill music, the gangster rap and all of that. I look at it, it's like when you at rock bottom and you didn't make that transition and you at your lowest self. Like you're in the lowest state you can possibly be in. We all, you know, we've all been there. I've been there. But that is a reflection. Like when you making trap music and drill music and gangster rap, it was just meant to be that. You know, you just talking about your pain and your struggle, you know, because you're in your lowest state. So I don't do drill music and gangster rap because I'm not there no more. In real life, I'm not there no more. I evolved.
Very early. So go ahead and plug your social media for people who want, follow you, stay updated with you, tap into the music and all that. Go ahead and plug all that.
The Instagram is Tru Rapp Music 215 at Tru Rapp Music 215, and you could just look up Tru Rapp and pretty much anywhere. TRU, no E, just TRURAPP.
Word. And
I got the Philly Jungle series. Philly Jungle 1, 2, and 3 is out, and I'm cooking up some new stuff. I got an EP coming, so you can just stay tuned to that.
Right. I don't know, one more thing you wanted to touch on for sure before we wrap this up. You wanted to speak on a little bit about get some shout outs or whatever to some people that inspired you. I know one of the people, your uncle Cut, you sent me, like,
oh yeah.
So you can speak, go ahead, rap all that, go give him all that.
Okay, before I even do that, I want to also mention the fact that my style of rap, so my mother's side is from New York and my father's side is from Philly. So you might hear a little bit of both when I rap or when I talk.
What part of New York?
Brooklyn.
Okay, alright.
Right.
So Brooklyn kind of like, a lot of people compare, the boroughs to the city. They like, Brooklyn would be close to like North Philly, like,
right.
So it kind of like, kind of relatable hand in hand to a degree, man.
Absolutely.
Got you.
Yep. And so that brings me to my shout outs. The first person I want to definitely shout out is Grizzly Beats. Grizzly Beats, NY Bangers. They're like, they play a major role in the Philly Jungle 3, the Philly Jungle 1, 2, and 3. And everything that I'm doing, they play a role in that. New York, NY Bangers has a New York style, a New York sound, and I'm attracted to that. So Grizzly Beats, NY Bangers. I want to shout out Jameer, Sound Gallery, my nigga H, Patty. She owned a bar and restaurant, and it's called Pat's Cafe on Castor Avenue. I want to shout her out because she's a beautiful person, a beautiful soul, and she allowed me to shoot a video on her bar and restaurant. And she thorough. Every time I reach out to her, she showed me support. Everybody that I named, he showed me support. I want to shout out Coop, rest in peace. He was the one who inspired the Philly Jungle movement. I definitely want to shout out J. Dot, my promoter. So, and everybody else who supported the merch, the Philly Jungle merch. Appreciate everybody.
Alright, anything else you want to leave them with before we get up out of here that you ain't get a chance to touch on, speak on, you want to address, clarify, anything like that?
Nah, everything's good.
Early.
Follow Tru Rapp and just just be aware of the trap and just try your best to make the best decision you could possibly make. And I want to shout out the whole city of Philly. Everybody doing anything, whatever you're doing, I'm gonna shout you out.
Alright, man, on that note, we signing out till next time, man. Tru Rapp, Philly F.A.M.E TV, Sound Gallery Studios. We out of here.